You're Satan and your goal is to torment Gordon Ramsay. What food would you serve him? A perfectly executed scallop risotto, but it sat on the pass for too long and it's been reheated in the microwave for 15 seconds. I am generally a front-of-house worker. This entire thread hurt me. But this comment. This broke me. Is this bringing back bad memories? Just a few. But at the same time, I've been home so long, God, I miss being complained at. Sire Madam, I found a wig in my soup. I demand a refund and a free meal. And while you're at it, get me the manager so I can get you fired. You're welcome, buddy. Unfortunately, Sir Miss, there are no wigs in this establishment. Clearly you put that there yourself. I would ask you kindly to finish your meal, pay, and leave. Thank you very much. Sire Madam, your open table decided to overbook the establishment. I put in this reservation 10 minutes ago for a 7 o'clock Valentine's Day dinner. I demand to be seated now ahead of everyone else. Actual story about this Valentine's Day at a nice place we had booked a month in advance. The place never closed down their open table reservations and it was the first time they used it. It never closed down. Overcooked, unseasoned filet mignon served on a roof tile instead of a plate, doused in an incredibly overpowering sauce that I thought of in a dream. The meat was cooked last night, thrown in the fridge on the same tray as raw meat, and then boiled before serving on a stove that hasn't been cleaned in 20 years and has a grease trap that looks like it's filled with crude oil. The side is store-bought frozen ravioli reheated in a microwave with canned ragu, but I told him it's fresh and made in-house. The first course is a salad with improperly washed, grilled lettuce, and its dressing is a cultural fusion between two cultures that have no business meeting. The dessert is half a slice of chocolate cake that is clearly from the Cheesecake Factory that I bought a week ago, and I charge him $30 for it. The fork has a bit of dried food stuck to it and there's gum underneath the table. The menu is the length of a Dostoevsky novel. When questioned, I insist that I made everything that morning and pull out photos to prove it. He doesn't believe me. I call him an egocentric liar who doesn't know what he's talking about. As he leaves, I pocket the tip he left for the waiter. Whatever he asks for, expertly prepared, without a grain of salt. This is exactly what I thought. Everything is absolutely perfect, but there's no salt. Ramsay would see that the protein is cooked perfectly and draped over the most fabulous of garnishes and it isn't seasoned. Being who he is, he'd bring it up. Sorry, we're trying to keep our blood pressure down so we avoid using salt in the food. Next comes the soup. A fragrant aroma rises from a brisk medley of seasonal ingredients all prepared and combined with skill and precision that can only be described as art. But it's bland because there's no salt. This continues for years, decades, centuries even. Every dish completely perfect except for the lack of salt. Ramsay is a broken man. Finally, ants on a log. In his entire life, he never saw a better stalk of celery, or peanut butter made with so much care. Better yet, celery has salt in it. There's no way to get around it. Salt, it's fondant. Oh man, I just imagined biting into something expecting celery and getting fondant, and I'm having a hard time coming to terms with the massive contrast in textures. It's like eating a cookie and expecting a chocolate chip and getting a raisin, but dialed up 11. Like when you're expecting milk and it's pop, or vice versa. That reminds me of the first time I demanded to drink coffee, but let it sit a couple minutes and forgot it wasn't grape juice upon drinking it. Why would grape juice be hot? Because I was a dumb kid. I was also probably eating hot cereal for breakfast, the little heat left from it sitting in the cup for a few minutes didn't really register. I don't think anybody on Hell's Kitchen cooked scallops correctly the first time. And they're always ducking up the risotto. How does one duck up risotto? Unless you refuse to give tea the attention it deserves, it's always amazing. To be fair, I can see how a lot of people would struggle the first few days. Really high-end restaurants, which most of them have never worked at, cook on very high heats in order to get better sears. It's one thing to cook scallops at medium heat, it's another when you literally only have 10 seconds between raw and burned, and you can't keep a timer next to you. Oh, yeah. I guess, coming from casual home cooking land, that would be incredibly difficult. I hadn't thought of that, or known, to be honest. Most of them are professional cooks, but the kind of chefs that worked in small family restaurants, or at holes in the wall that made classic food. Fine dining just very often employs much different cooking methods. For example, I make risottos at home in about 20 to 25 minutes. In Hell's Kitchen, Ramsay wants them out in 10 to 15. It's just a different beast. I work in a professional kitchen. We par-cook our risotto rice so that it can get done in time. We keep our ticket times to 15 to 20 minutes even when getting ducked sometimes, this summer being the exception, haha. I can do risottos, and work sauté, but I can't run it. Only 2 of our guys can, and seeing someone do 9 risottos across 3 pans in 10 minutes is impressive. That is always the thing. You have to cook 10 menus to be ready at the same time. I am a reasonably good cook at home, and guests have told me more than once that I could open up a restaurant if everything else fails. But no. You got that one menu within a 1-hour window that I planned for 5 hours ago. That isn't even close to what is needed for a restaurant. TBH, opening a restaurant is about far more than working a line station. Working a line station is not very hard, especially on easier stations. Some of the stations are difficult, but that's what specialized cooks are for. I personally would never open a restaurant, unless I was laundering money. Be lucky enough, it seems nowadays, to work a restaurant that knows what a line cook is. Unless you're working for someone with a brain, then being a line cook means duck all. Just do what you're told and get ripped apart for following. Hollowed out McNuggets filled with mayonnaise. Like hot breaded gushers. Duck, I gagged. So did Ramsay. Just one microwaved hot dog on a slice of wheat bread and ketchup, but the gross watery part with very little regular ketchup. Oh, so my childhood, great. Microwave lettuce. There we go, this is what I've been looking for. Is there anything that hasn't been microwaved? The salad. You ducking donut. Of course, out on put salad in ducking microwave. Instead of that, Amy's baking company has revived and actually become successful, even expanding to a location near him. Everyone talks about how great it is and how he was wrong about it. Then he is convinced to try going there again, and the owners haven't changed at all, while everyone around him insists that everything is great. That would be a serious WTF moment for him, as that was the first restaurant he ever walked out on in his shows, and having everyone insist they are great while nothing has changed would be a special kind of torture. Amy's baking company gets awarded 3 Michelin stars. 4. They get the first 4-star rating from Michelin. Michelin doesn't even bother to rate anyone else because they're all brought to their knees by how good Amy's cakes are. Someone who tweets needs to screenshot this discussion, send it to Gordon so he knows that Reddit has devised his personal hell. And expect Satan to send you a fruit basket as thanks. That's one last thing on his to-do list checked off. I'm sorry, Chef Ramsay. I don't actually think you're going to hell. Unless the devil borrows you from heaven to train his kitchen staff or make a technically perfect meal. Spam. Straight from the can, room temperature and extra juicy. Nothing else. Actually, a side of leftover, twice microwaved, unsalted, ketchup-drenched fries would be appropriate. No ketchup. But then sure. It'd provide him with the best kitchen and the best ingredients. He would be allowed to prepare any one food item of his choosing. This item would be the only thing he could eat for all eternity. Repetition makes the most enjoyable food revolting. He would choose and execute his own hell. Lamb without lamb sauce. I heard this comment. Where's the lamb sauce? Locating the lamb sauce. Raw chicken and scallops in ramen noodle water with 10 seasoning packets and no noodles. Add some cut up warm Vienna sausages in. A tiny piece of the most delicious food in the universe. He'll be tormented for the rest of his life. Nothing else can compare. Everything tastes like sand compared to that. And he'll never have it again. I was thinking similarly. The best thing Gordon has ever cooked, or could ever conceivably cook, followed by the most delicious thing Satan could cook, which would be 1,000,000 times more delicious. Just to let him see the gap between himself and actual perfection. To be fair, he has spoken with humility about other chefs that he said surpassed him, so I think he'd be able to accept being worse. The never tasting anything that good again might be torment, though.